I don't even have a song I can sing now, but we can try.
We'll sing. What do you want? We can warm up the vocals.
What is a song I know? Come on, come on, come on, now touch me, babe. Can't you see that I am not afraid? What was that promise that you made? No. Why would we sing the Nationals?
Oh, the Baby Shark? Is that what you went to?
I wasn't really thinking about the Nationals. I was thinking about Boy Scouts.
It's too soon.
That was like the most obnoxious celebration.
If they weren't playing our team, it would be funny.
Correct.
I mean, I agree, but it's still obnoxious. You know what I mean? Like,
everything about them is obnoxious.
Yeah, like Astros were like, score, everybody waved their towels, we're good. And they're over there in people's faces.
Well, we're already recording, and I'm going to save all the, you know what, let's just get started. I'll leave this in. I like this part. Okay, real quick, everybody. I'll just jump right into Patreon. That's where you can support the podcast for as little as $1 episode. Go to patreon.com/InterBrews or interbrews.com/Patreon. Or if you're on the website listening to this podcast, it's the link just below the post there with the big P and where it says Patreon. You click on that, you go to Patreon, and you can help support the show. So like I said, for as little as $1 an episode, Jake, people can support craft beer audio, craft artisan beverage audio. I can't just say beer anymore. We'll talk about more of that. But anyway, all your support is greatly appreciated. And exclusive shows on that for subscribers, for Patreon subscribers.
I'd give $1 for that.
Yeah, we just had an epic one at Backfish with some exclusive information about their Black Friday event.
Oh, nice.
That only Patreon subscribers get to hear. I mean, eventually I think they'll release all that information, but you want to know now.
Oh, yeah.
And more. And more. I think we're up to 11 exclusive episodes already.
Wow.
So, there you go. All right. Well, enough of my rambling on about trying to pick your pockets. Let's just get on to why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start the show. Do y'all remember how to do the intro? Let's see. We'll just do it on the fly. We haven't rehearsed this at all.
The following is a presentation of Stewed Productions.
All right. This is where you say, hey, I'm Jake.
Hey, I'm Jake.
And hey, I'm Mary.
Hey, I'm Mary.
We're at Thistle Draftshop.
We're at Thistle Draftshop.
And this is...
Liquid Lunch.
Sometimes, but today it's InterBrews.
Oh, InterBrews. Today is InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
That's my favorite intro ever. That was perfect. Perfect. I'm going to slide back here on the big cozy couch. We're up at the front, ladies and gentlemen. I want you all to get this vision in your minds. Close your eyes. Not if you're driving. I mean, if you're driving, go ahead. Maybe you've got one of those Teslas that basically drives itself. Close your eyes. Get the mental image. It's Jake and Mary to my right on the love seat, because I'm loving that we're here today, and then me on the big cushy couch. And we are at Thistle Draftshop, sitting in the front room, sipping on Swerve here coffee.
Coffee.
Delicious, hot, roasty coffee. Top of the morning to you. I'm going to pick up my cup. Second cup. It's about to get animated. Normally it gets a little slurry. Today it's going to get... You may have to listen to this thing on half speed by the end of the show. I love caffeine, and I love coffee. I'm starting to get the little droplets of caffeine. Like
the caffeine sweats?
Yeah, I get a little bit. It's my favorite.
Is that similar to beer sweats? Are they the same?
There is... Well, similar makeup, if you were to analyze on a scientific level. But as far as like the spectrum, it's two opposite ends of the spectrum where they come from. So it's a good morning. I love coffee. Like look, I love my kids. I love them to death, but they go to school at like 6:45 in the morning. And when you work till midnight, it's tough to get up every single morning. So a lot of mornings, it's a rollover, hug them from bed and be like, have a great day at school. And they're like, Dad, you need to brush your teeth. I'm like, I'll get to it. You know, that's a typical morning. But the coffee, I will force myself out of bed, and the first thing I do, make my coffee. Sometimes I do pour over. Sometimes I just do drip. Today, special treat.
It is.
With a lot. First, my latte, the delicious latte with the perfect spicing for this weather. It's amazing.
Ah, it is.
I've only had 4 shots of espresso this morning. You're making me feel like I need more.
I think I'm caffeine sensitive.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think so. I may be alcohol sensitive too, which is why these are my 2 favorite substances. I could not do other substances. This is it. and oxygen.
So do you put coffee in your stouts? I know there's coffee stouts, but do you add the extra coffee into the stout?
Not on the regular, but I will. And actually, that's the thing. Like, if we ever do a show, this is how I know. Like, maybe it's all mental too, because I'm prone to panic attacks. So maybe it's just all like suggestive. Like, if I said I'm really good at investing, maybe I would be a millionaire by this time next year. Power of suggestion. I don't know how that works. Probably have to look into that. But anyway, it's
A little slower than we'd like.
something, maybe. I don't know. Compound interest or something. I don't know. I didn't really pay attention in school. But if we do a show where they have like a coffee stout or something, and I've already had, and it's a mid-morning show, and I've already had my 2 cups of coffee, I'll take a sip, and I love the flavor and everything, but I'm like, mentally, I'm like, I'm over my caffeine threshold. I'm going to get a little shaky here. And I think most of that's mental. I'm 225 pounds. A couple cups of coffee shouldn't be throwing me off that much.
I don't know. How tired are you when you drink them?
In the morning?
Yeah.
At first, very tired.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even function until it takes like a sip of coffee, and then my eyes actually do open. So I don't know. I'm sure there's some doctor somewhere saying, or a psychologist saying this one's trouble. But enough about me. Enough about me, everybody. You've heard enough about me.
Well,
Mary?
Welcome to Thistle Coffee Shop.
Oh, that has an amazing ring to it. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Mary, just when I thought that things couldn't be better here, you guys took it to, it's like if there's levels of heaven, 7th heaven or something. I don't know how many levels there are.
The next step.
The next step, I mean, I love coffee about as much as I love beer. I think. It's up there. That's really like a philosophical, like, I would really have to dig in and decide which I love. Because I don't know that I can get to the beer without the coffee in the morning, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I can drink more beer. Anyway.
Yeah.
Things to sit here at Thistle and mull over and contemplate.
I just think we can sit here and have coffee, then beer. Then
Yes.
coffee, then beer.
Yes, really. And that's the thing, 2 cups of coffee, I'm solid. And then all the beers.
Yeah.
But if I just go with just the beers, and I've tried this before, I don't enjoy the beers as much.
You got to open the palate up.
Yeah. But then it's like if I just do the coffee, I'm like, I wish I had a beer. So they're the perfect combination, and you've got it.
We've got it here. Yeah.
So what led to all of the delicious Java? I was trying to come up with the point. What led to the coffee? How did we get to this point?
Well, Jake will know. This is something I wanted to do from the time we opened up. It just didn't make sense at the time that we opened.
Yeah.
The place is big. It's wide open. It's a great place to study, and why not take off some of the load from the other well-known coffee shops? So.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got enough.
Yeah, they
And
do.
it's, you know what, though? They don't have the feels like this place has the feels.
They do not.
That one, they don't have the music. Y'all got your music has been so on point this morning. Normally, you do have good music. It's kind of a ska, punky kind of vibe going on, which it has been in the past. And today, I had Danger Zone.
Yeah.
I mean, we get a little caffeine in me and then play some Danger Zone.
Old school.
It might be the most intense podcast.
Yeah, just ready to make bad decisions all over the board.
Yes.
Yeah, danger zone.
Danger Zone. Exactly. But yeah, no, this is. I mean, look, those other places.
Lacking personality.
Yes, they're cliche.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what we think a thing like this is supposed to be. It's like, speaking of Danger Zone and Tom Cruise, I think Tom Cruise is really good at playing Tom Cruise as. He's such a big personality, you know? He doesn't really play a role. It's like Tom Cruise is the guy on The Mummy, or Tom Cruise is the guy in Mission Impossible. It's not like he's the character. What's the name of the character from Mission Impossible?
Oh, boy, I should actually know that one, and I don't.
It's Tom Cruise being
It's-
whoever.
It's Tom Cruise.
Right?
I mean, it's just like Cocktail as well. I mean, you throw it all in, you're like, he's just a bartender that, drops from the ceiling and saves the world. Or
Yes,
whatever.
it all starts to run together. And
Like
he's such
Speed.
right. But I don't think, from everything I've seen about Tom Cruise, I don't think he's a real human. I think he acts like a real human. Like, from all the stories I've seen where he comes in and talks to people or interviews and things like that, like he looks people right in the eye, like super intensely, because that's what humans do. And this is how you connect to humans. And he shakes hands and stuff. That's what those other places are. They're like, this is what a cafe does, and they have the coffee and la 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 la, whatever. So,
Yeah, it's got this little.
it's not real. It's not somebody you want to hang out with. It's like all right, this will do.
This will do because that's all there is.
Yeah.
So welcome. We got something quite different.
Yeah. Oh, you got to jump up again? Humping it on. Yeah, watch all those tables. I want to trip him up.
Yeah, Wednesdays is our delivery day, so.
Yeah, I saw one of the distributors just pulled around back,
Mm-hmm.
and always awesome beers in and out, new
Yeah.
ones on tap. But we'll get
Yeah.
to beers again here in a second. I
Yeah.
want to talk coffee. So you
Let's talk
wanted
coffee.
to do this from the beginning.
I did, yeah. And part of that challenge is, let's get this side of the business up and running first, and then we'll get to coffee later. Beginning of this year, I met an awesome person, John Sanchez, and he has Bluebonnet Coffee.
Awesome.
So we partnered up with him. We did some coffee on the weekends, and then I said, let's do it full time.
Watching how you did it, just adding it on the weekend for just in the morning or whatever, super smart. Trying it out. It's like, okay, picking one thing to do. I guess that's probably where a lot of people get in trouble, trying to do too much at one time.
Mm-hmm.
And you picked your spot. You're like, let's do beer, and awesome food, and then perfect that and get all of that just dialed in, and you've dialed it in so well. And then now it's like, all right, now we're gonna add this other. It was not a complete picture yet.
Right.
And then you're like, now let's do this part.
Yes.
And so now you've got it. So is it? You just changed your hours? Did I see that?
We did. We're now 8 a.m. in the morning.
Until
Until midnight or 11.
Okay.
But we'll do coffee until about 1 or 2 o'clock.
okay.
The goal is to have it all day long.
Awesome.
Have it available to customers all day long, and then also to open at 7 or 6 in the morning and have food from the kitchen. So we have food,
Yeah.
but some hot food from the kitchen.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal.
That's
And to have this place just rocking and rolling and pumping and going first thing in the morning.
that sounds magical. I love it because you can tell that was from the beginning, the goal.
Mm-hmm.
When you were writing it out,
Yeah.
or when you're dreaming about it. Maybe back when you were at St. Arnold and you were just sitting you're like, this is what I want to do.
Daydreaming.
Is that?
Little bubbles.
Yeah. And so, it makes sense because good times with people and good food and good beverage and all that, it shouldn't just be in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It should be all day long.
All day long.
Because, and it really is a different deal, because breakfast is so good. I never miss breakfast. This may surprise you, Mary. I never miss breakfast because I love it so much. I guess nobody misses it. Is your first meal always breakfast?
Mine is.
Yeah.
Mine's always breakfast. It could be a scoop of peanut butter. It could be eggs, but it's always something in the morning.
But, some people say I skipped breakfast, but I'm like, well, doesn't that just mean you had lunch for breakfast? Isn't
Touché.
right? Because the term breakfast is break the fast.
Uh-huh.
So technically, whatever your first meal is your
breakfast.
breakfast. So nobody skips breakfast. You just push it back.
So do you go for that lunch and that dinner, or do you skip one of those?
Yeah, I think lunch you have to hem that into midday. I think that's the parameter. I think you can dine dinner. My dad always called it supper. I think that's a southern.
Supper.
Yeah.
Or lupper.
So, yeah. I don't know. So yeah, you can skip lunch. I think that's legal. By definition, you can skip lunch, or you can have breakfast for lunch, or lunch for breakfast.
Oh, you got brunch.
There's brunch.
Sure.
Brunch is exciting too.
Yeah.
But
Would you skip breakfast, Jake?
Just got another cup of coffee.
yeah, my theory is you can't skip breakfast. Theoretically impossible.
I don't ever eat breakfast.
You just eat later breakfast.
Yeah, well, second and third lunch, but
No, I'm saying whatever your first meal is by default breaking the fast from when you slept. Breakfast.
okay, I'll take it.
That's my stance.
Yeah,
Print that T-shirt up.
print that T-shirt up. Yeah.
So in a way, Mary, y'all have had breakfast from the jump
We have.
for certain people.
Yes,
They wake up and come in to have a beer.
we do.
You can have beer for breakfast
We can
At
we
3
can serve beer for breakfast.
at
Yes.
3 p.m. So there's no limit, right, as far as timing, licensing, all that kind of stuff?
7 a.m.
7 a.m.?
I believe so.
What about people that work the overnight shift? I feel like,
Yeah.
what if they got off at 6 a.m. and needed an end of shift?
Well, just have to serve them some coffee first, and then give them some beer.
I just don't think in town. Is that a Texas law? I just think
I believe
Texas.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Texas is just
Mhm.
not thinking third shift.
Yeah.
Well, is that true? I know we can sell beer to go at 7 a.m., but I don't know if you can serve on premise till 10 a.m.
Really?
The laws get all real wonky with that.
But
That's just Sundays.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, maybe it is
Sunday,
just
10
Sunday.
a.m.
And does it have anything to do with if you have food as well?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
For
good.
Sundays. Otherwise, it's noon.
That's so silly.
The whole laws are silly.
Yeah. They've been... Maybe in another decade and a half we'll be able to change that one as well.
Maybe.
It took that long to change the beer to go.
Right.
But,
By that point, we'll have a place out by you.
okay. I'll be there 24/7.
Or you move down here. One of the two.
I'll just move in here.
There
This
you
couch
go.
is pretty nice. This is mostly what I do all day. Like my mornings, this is me. Just, usually with my phone in front of my face looking at stuff that doesn't matter.
I won't lie. This is one of my favorite rooms in here. It's got a nice visual, almost 360.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, even on it's cool today, but with the sun coming in, it's nice.
it is.
Yeah.
I
'Cause
love
it-
the summertime when the sun's really beating through here.
Yeah.
That nice bright sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a sauna.
It
really,
could be.
really cleanse the skin out before you start your day.
Yeah, and you need that.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that's called. Sweating.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin
A
D.
little extra vitamin D.
Yeah.
So, okay, swerving back over to topic at hand, the coffee.
Coffee.
So now every day,
Every day.
8 a.m.,
8 a.m.
serving coffee till 1-ish.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1-ish, 2-ish. I can't remember which.
Just-
Yeah.
So about the time you should probably think about stop drinking coffee.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But
Yeah.
again, the ultimate goal is to have it all day long. There's people that want it at night as well. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
That's
Baby
why,
steps.
that's why we keep the cold brew on tap
That is true.
Yes.
all times. That's the high octane stuff.
Is it? Is
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Is it high caffeine?
Mm-hmm.
What do they measure caffeine in? Just like milliliters or
Milligrams?
milligrams per
Ye-
ounce or something? I don't know. I really don't know.
I'll say when you talk nutrition labels, it's typically milligram, but I mean, when it comes down to actually making the cold brew, I mean, parts per million is not a horrible way to look at it either, because you're looking about the dilution of water versus coffee actually in it, rather than the caffeine content. But I would probably say milligrams.
Okay.
And our cold brew is way above where it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
So we're actually carrying 2 brands of coffee here. One is Independence Coffee.
Okay.
They're out of Brenham, and then Bluebonnet Coffee.
Where?
They're out of New Waverly.
New Waverly, north on 45, just north of Willis,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yes. New Waverly. Way better than the old one. The old Waverly. I don't even think they have coffee there.
Yeah, nobody
got
cares
it.
about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're learning how to wave differently.
Something. Old. Yeah, they're like, they do the circle. They're like, that's old stuff. Why are y'all doing that way?
So what's the new way? Is that the
like that. That's all that came out of New Waverly.
was that the passion contest
Yes.
wave?
Yeah,
We'll rotate.
the Miss America.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because it did happen in Miss Texas, I guess, since it was in Texas. Or even the Arsenio Hall, that got inspired by, that was part of the New Waverly movement.
That's what really inspired it.
Yeah. It was all of that. He was traveling through, and he's like, I'm going to use that. Like, these people over here in New Waverly. Anyway, you remember Arsenio?
Oh, I loved
I
loved
do.
his shows.
These people over here think either grapes are either a grape or a nut or something, and then everybody go crazy. People, dog pound? Anyway. I don't know.
It's a name from the past. I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, maybe this could be the new dog pound. I don't know. It's just I always remember watching that show being, I would love to go sit in the dog pound someday. It would be like life goals. And then 2 years later, the show's not on anymore. I don't know why.
Strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah. I have to come up with something else. Anyway. So, okay, coffee. I said intense. I didn't say like focused. I thought caffeine was supposed to focus you, but I think I'm just taking, side roads.
Is there like a balance of how much that focus is
Yeah.
between the first and second cup? Where does that focus become blurred?
In about a sip. We're going off the rails in about a sip and a half, judging by the. But okay, so the roast on this coffee. How much detail can you like? This is just the drip. I had the latte before. You have the espresso, the steamed milk. What is it? A third to 2/3, or is it half and half for a latte? I don't. It's been my barista days are a ways behind me. 20 years or so.
I would bet that your barista knowledge is way better than mine. That's why we hire the right people to do that for us.
Oh right.
Yeah. But
So-
John is probably here, so we'll get John on the mic here in a bit.
We'll just
I don't think he's here yet.
No, yeah.
we'll just lie.
Yeah, we'll just lie.
It's never stop. It's fine. Just fake it till we make it. I believe latte is a third espresso to 2/3 steamed milk.
That sounds right.
And then
Yeah,
the cappuccino is the
is-
third froth, third steam, third espresso.
Look,
See?
I got the cortado down. Right.
What's
Half coffee, half steam milk.
okay? I
That's
thought
it, just
that's
half and half.
cortado. That's not the Americana.
No,
What's
no,
Americana?
No.
Is that-
Americana is actually, I think, it actually originates from Italy. As a lot of Americans were going over there, and over there they drink the shot of espresso.
Mm-hmm.
The Americans wanted a cup of coffee, so what they do is they do the espresso and then they add hot water to it to make it a bigger drink rather than just straight espresso.
Okay.
That's like one of the very few things I know.
Okay. No, that's good. I feel yes, excellent. Yeah, dap that up. That was excellent, Jake.
And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry for everybody because I
It's-
just misinformed a lot of people.
I think it sounds about right. And then of course you can get a straight shot of espresso, which espresso people think, oh man, that's going to be high in caffeine. It's really not.
It's not.
Because the darker the roast, the less caffeine
Yeah.
because it cooks off the caffeine. So the medium roast, the light roast, higher in caffeine, but less intense flavor, or maybe some higher flavors, I guess. I don't know. The more you just like with grains and stuff in beer, the more you roast it, the different.
The more caramelized, the more roasty it
Yes.
becomes, more flavorful.
Yes.
That's why the breakfast blends are the best ones because it's less aggressive with the flavor, much higher in the caffeine.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, you know what? Like late morning, I like a more like a roastier, darker, almost like a. And those go good with desserts too.
Oh,
To counterbalance the sweetness of like we just funny story, side note, but relevant in my life, so I'll talk about it. Yeah, this is crazy. It's bananas. So on Amazon you can have groceries delivered right to the house, right? Amazon Fresh or whatever. And if you take the link interbrews.com/Amazon, anything you purchase will help a little kickback, and it won't cost you any more money. So when you order 6 bunches of bananas, because they say bunches and it's not single bananas, and you say, I want 6. How many bananas you want? 6. And it actually means how many bunches, because the thing below it says at least 5 bananas per bunch. So you get 30 or more, bananas delivered to the house. You're like, what do I do with all these bananas?
It's a lot of banana bread. A lot.
Yeah, that's what we're starting on next. So we did banana pudding, right? And then yesterday, was it yesterday? 2 days ago, I did bananas Foster. It's like we have rum, we got the brown sugar. Let's do this, and it was great. But some dark, rich coffee to go with all that caramely sweetness, and the vanilla ice cream and everything. That would perfect.
So do you light your bananas Fosters on fire?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the whole works.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you got to impress the kids. That's the whole reason I did it. It's like I'm putting rum in this, but I'm gonna flame it off or whatever so that you don't get. I'm sure they get a little alcohol. It's not that much in it though. It's like 3.5 tablespoons of rum, and it was spread out over 5 bowls of ice cream.
So if they're eating this at night before they go to bed, and that little smidget of alcohol, does that help them sleep, or does all the sugar ramp them up?
It was like a big ramp up and then a huge crash and then just out. But they loved it. That was the first time they'd ever tried it.
Nice.
And used walnuts. I guess you can use either walnuts or pecans depending on your. He used walnuts. It was really good though.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, and it's fun. Tableside. I was watching on the. I didn't do it tableside. It's like,
You bring the card up.
Yeah, the
Coffee
stove's just
table.
right here. It's fine. If you have like one of those little portable eyes, though, they do that. It's kind of like the tableside guacamole or something.
Yeah.
Big, flashy movements and stuff.
Yeah, it's just running through my mind. Can we do that if we're using it for cooking? Rum?
Yeah. Technically we can.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could dim the light. Ooh, here's what you do. You do like a Bananas Foster cart that has like a light on top.
Ooh.
And then you can shut that light off and then flame it, and then you turn the light back on.
Then we're going to have to start putting white tablecloths on the tables.
Yeah. Get real hoity-toity. But anyway, all that to say, a dark, roasty coffee with that sugary, sweet, caramely, with those creamy, ice cream and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little slice of heaven.
Yeah.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Perfect.
Coffee and banana bread.
Yeah.
Warm banana bread in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
Yum.
Yeah.
So now that we're talking about evening coffee, how do you feel about the French press? Because I haven't heard you say French press one single time. Are you like just against it, or is that like a special occasion?
You mean the process or like the...
The whole after dinner, you put the French press on the table, and that way you can split a French press.
Oh yeah, no, I don't personally have one at the house. I'm not against it though. It's just it's good. I think it's actually pretty convenient, and it's actually I'd have to dig into it more, but I think somebody just got pulled over. That's distraction to the windows. Shouldn't have. They were trying to get here too fast. They're like, I want to get some coffee. Officer's gonna be like, I know exactly what you mean. Let's go. First cup's on me. No, I think it's great. French press.
That's my favorite, like, shareable coffee. You know, when you make coffee for yourself, it's straightforward. Just do a pour over or a drip coffee.
I love pour over.
But, you know, when you're sharing with people, that's my favorite. It's just slightly smaller cups, big French press.
Mm-hmm.
That way you can just keep it kind of flowing and pouring, and it's always like that fresh.
Yes, and I remember the first time I saw a French press was when I was back when I was a barista. They were like, "We're going to try to sell. We're going to have some of these for sale. Here's how it works. This is what it does. The extraction of flavors and yada yada yada." And I was like, "That all sounds cool." And then he did the plunger, and I was like, "That's cool." That's what, I was like, "That's really cool." And it's like part of that, all of that, like the show. It's like when you pour like a nitro beer or something, you set it out in front of somebody, and the bubbles look like like they're dancing in the glass and everything. I think that's all part of it. Like the ritual of coffee, you hear the grinding of the beans, you know, that sound, and then like the change of the tone from the whole beans to the however fine you want to get the grind. It changes, like, you know, it's like, oh, it's almost there. And then when they make the espresso, that whole sound and the steaming of the milk, and it goes in, and then it gets to the temperature it's supposed to be. And all of that. Like,
How long were you a barista?
About a year. And it was through the holiday season, especially about when that's when everybody started coming into the bookstore and everything, back when people actually bought books. But it was just like an 8-hour shift of just one after another. You know, it's like somebody's like, let me get 5 lattes and just knock them out. And yeah, it was, you know, I remember thinking back, yeah, it's kind of what started my whole love of cooking and preparing. And when you slide a cup of coffee over to somebody that's, you know, coming in at 10 a.m., the old guy that worked the morning shift or whatever and got off work and came in for his late, you know, morning coffee, and he'd sit there and talk to you and give you like life wisdom because you're only 19, you don't know anything. Or if it was Sunday morning and he did it right before he's going to church, you feel bad because you're still a little drunk. There's someone who was still a lot like, I don't even know how I made it to work. I'll be honest with you. That's kind of sad.
That was actually the first podcast I ever did with y'all. It was I had a 120-minute night with Dogfish, you know, and I remember getting up that morning and headed straight here to talk with y'all, and I was on the way, and I was like, man, this is awesome. I'm not hungover. This is great. And the second I got here, I was like, oh man, I need coffee now. Now.
Yes. Yeah. There's definitely there's a. Like, I know for me, like, if I don't get a cup of coffee by, maybe, again, this is mental, but I start going through withdrawal symptoms, the headache, and you can't catch up. That's the problem, is you can have a cup of coffee, but once that headache sits in, it's like it's not the same. Mm-hmm. Like, you missed your window of having a great morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so people don't do that. Come to Thistle. Don't miss your morning. Don't miss your opportunity for a great morning. You should get here. Have some
100%.
coffee. Yeah. So I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know, coffee. I love it.
Coffee's beautiful.
Now I see that big flag out there that says coffee.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you started out slow.
Mm-hmm.
Started out on just the weekends. Was it every weekend to start, or was it just like one event and then, or I'm trying to remember.
Theoretically, every weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, we went really strong.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think the summer hit. People weren't really interested in coffee at that time, and so now we're picking up in the winter and for the fall and growing the business.
Yeah, that's I love it. It really does just round, like, even with a meal. Like, I love, like, if you're gonna do dessert, like, to me it's always been coffee with that dessert. Once I got into adulthood, that's how when you start loving coffee, that's like, you know, you're an adult, or at least you're approaching adulthood.
Right.
You're getting it. You're saying, like, okay, this is something I didn't get when I was a kid, but now there's something so, I don't know, like, heartwarming about it.
And then when you graduate to the adult is when you drink coffee with nothing in it.
Yes.
Then you're the adult.
Yeah. So that's how you take your coffee, just straight coffee?
Straight coffee.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like a little, like, if I have some heavy cream at the house, I'll every once in a while to indulge a little bit, but it doesn't have that punch.
Yeah, it's like the rawness of beer. You want to enjoy every single flavor that's in it.
Yeah. So, okay, when you're trying to decide, like on your coffee, did y'all dig in and try a bunch of different like types of roasts and things like that, or did you let the experts say?
In this case, we let the experts help us out with this. I mean, John had had a couple coffee businesses before. He knows what he's doing. He roasts coffee at the house, and,
Okay.
and his coffee is really good. You
Yeah.
know, so just being a coffee connoisseur, we can get on board with his coffee. It's delicious.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. No, that's one thing I've always wanted to do is like I've never set in on the process of roasting beans or anything like that.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah. I know that there was some like home roasting, like almost like for homebrew stores had some of these like home roasting drums or something like that, and I almost pulled the trigger on that, but then. You know, it's one of those. It's just like home brewing. You start with a little bit, and then it takes like. My wife's like, "No, you've got all the home brewing stuff. It's already taken over 3 cabinets and the laundry room and the garage, and the front room, and part of the kitchen."
You're out of real estate.
Yes, it's yeah. I call it homebrew creep, and I imagine like with coffee, it's the same thing because there's the different processes, like the pour over.
Mm-hmm.
I love the pour over. I love the actual act of pouring over from the I don't know what you call that, the spout or whatever, right?
Kettle. Is it called
Yeah.
a kettle?
Yeah, and like for me, like you weigh it out, like the amount of water and the amount of coffee, and you want to get it just right, and you put it in the holder and I don't know.
It kind of also has like its special moment, just like that, like, oh yeah, like I'm really making my coffee now. It's not just push a button and let it go, when's it ready?
Yeah.
Really kind of like, oh, put a little on there, let it absorb a little bit,
Yeah.
then start pouring.
Do you know what
Interactive
that's, you know what that's
craft.
called when you first put the water on the first time?
I have no idea.
You're letting it bloom.
Oh.
Because it actually puffs up and almost looks like a blooming flower or something. I didn't learn that when I was a barista. I watched a documentary. There's a cool, I think it's called Caffeinated. Pretty good documentary on like artisan coffee.
Now I feel like I'm so much more into coffee than I thought I was. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, come check out this bloom.
Yeah, watch it bloom, just boom. And then you let it sit for like 30 seconds or so, and you can, or however long, and then you come back and pour over for like, I don't know, was it 2 minutes? Depending on the amount. You want to try and time it, like
Yeah.
within a minute or 2 minutes or something. I don't remember. It's been a little bit since I've done my pour over.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then you just let it do. And it for me, it's so much. It's so smooth or something. It has like a softness to it when you do it that way. But like the drip, like if we've got a bunch of people like my in-laws or somebody like that at the house, well, we need a big pot of coffee. So just do the drip coffee. But that pour over, I don't know. It's just it's softer and silky and coffee, just like beer, right?
It's handcrafted.
Yeah, but it's the same. There's so much nuance.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know enough about coffee. That's the thing. I want to know more. You ever like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had a siphon coffee yet?
No.
So that's honestly one of my favorites. And I don't know if it's just the coffee shop that I go to that does it so well, but there's so much more nuances in the flavor. It's so much more delicate. It's one of those ones that, it hurts you if you see somebody put sugar in it because you're missing out on so much flavor. You get these like delicate herbal flavors and like the acidity is bright. But it basically looks like a science kit. They got a big beaker on the bottom, big beaker on the top, and they heat the water from the bottom, put the coffee in the top, so it actually steams up into the grain or the grinds, and then it drips back down to the bottom, and then you serve it with that.
Really?
And there's a little coffee shop. What is that? Richmond or West Alabama and Montrose? Siphon, yeah. Siphon coffee is what it is. But oh man, it is so good. I used to just stop in there just to try some and tell you what, you get wired and you're ready to work.
Yeah, that's you really can prepare coffee in a bunch of different ways. And it's just like with beer. I mean, it's like not just like with beer, but temperatures and textures and styles, like you get your different coffee beans from different parts of the world and different grinds and different all of that. It all plays into it. Water chemistry. If you don't filter your water, I mean, it's going to taste way different than when you get this clean, clear, soft filtered water. All of that.
See that parallelism with the beers?
Yeah. And then you start to combine the two.
What about barrel aged coffee? Have you gotten into that yet?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's definitely an up and coming thing. I think it's Modern Times in California that's really kind of leading the front of it right now. But I mean, they're doing stout barrel aged coffee beans, and they're doing all these different barrel aged coffee beans. So you're instead of doing your beer with coffee added to it, they're taking their coffee and adding the beer flavors to it. and that's kind of like a new and up and coming thing.
So they're adding. How are they? Okay.
So they're barrel aging the coffee beans
Okay.
With-
Just the dry beans
with the beer barrels. Yeah.
in the barrels that had been used for like a bourbon barrel that it was used for a stout or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't remember if they're doing raw beans aging and then roasting, or roasting then barrel aging them.
Yeah.
There's some kind of process along with it, but
Now I'm intrigued.
it's starting to get a foothold.
The barrel side of things. I mean, when you add that next element, like they're taking, because American whiskey, they can only use new barrels. So like, something like a Maker's Mark or whatever, some American-made whiskey, they can only use new barrels. But then, so that means there's a bunch of barrels out there for brewers and whoever else. But now they're taking, some of them are taking, so whiskey makers are using the barrels and giving them to the brewers. The brewers are using them, then they're giving them back to, say, like a whiskey maker or a distiller. And then they're aging that, but then they're also doing like maple syrup in the bourbon barrels. And then what if you took like a bourbon barrel maple syrup barrel and then put coffee beans in it? Boom.
Whoa.
I'd buy it.
I would buy it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. That'd be awesome. Because you think like stuff like maple syrup, especially like, we put the spices and stuff in a latte, and that kind of, it mixes with the milk, and it's almost like a dessert,
Oh yeah.
But if you can get like maple flavor into a coffee without the sweetness per se, kind of,
Without it being artificial.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's flavored coffees, but I don't know.
That sounds like a Preston question.
Yeah, I know, right? Where's Preston when you need him? Probably at the grain cellar. That's a different show. Totally different show. But he could walk you through that. I bet he knows a thing or two about coffee.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make a Keyser for your nitro coffee, or however. I don't know.
Yeah?
Yeah. You do that.
Don't give all our secrets away.
Okay, I won't. Is y'all's coffee on nitro?
We do have some on nitro, yes.
Okay, but you also have just the... So, okay, cold brew coffee, completely different thing.
It is.
Process than like a pour over or something like that.
I mean, not completely. I think it's just more time consuming because, I mean, it's essentially the same process except, you're letting them rest for days rather than a minute or two,
Are you using hot water or cold water?
Cold water.
Cold water.
Right, from the jump, right? Just from the beginning. It's
Right. So I think it keeps the acidity levels down.
Okay.
That would be the difference between the hot and the cold coffee.
And you definitely extract a lot more caffeine, like a lot more caffeine. So with cold brew, you're going to have to cut it back with water to get it to where you need it to be.
Okay. And then CO2 wise, how much are you just want to push it just enough to...
So ours is
Maybe
100%
20?
nitrogen.
Is
No,
it?
our
That's 100.
yeah. So we have obviously the Guinness taps that are 75 nitro and 25 CO2, but for
Right.
the coffee we're 100%
100%.
nitrogen.
Okay.
So and when you pour it, it really kind of gives that big frothy, creamy, ness to the mouthfeel, but it also opens up the flavors quite a bit as well.
yeah.
It tastes so smooth and easy, but in the long run, it's got a lot of caffeine. So you're taking big strides in the morning.
So how much cold brew are y'all making at a time?
So we don't actually make the cold brew.
Okay.
Independence Coffee makes our cold brew.
Right.
Yeah, and so they do quite a bit, but we usually tear through about 5 to 10 gallons a week.
Wow. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Where is Independence? You said earlier.
Brenham. They're in
Brenham.
Brenham. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You
So-
can buy their stuff in the grocery stores. They're
Okay.
throughout HEB. and
All the
Kroger.
way up to Pennsylvania too, I think.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I think, well, maybe it's just because I'm not as into that as beer, but it seems like the coffee, like local roasters and things like that, it's kind of its own boom, like
Yes.
mini boom going on, and it's not out as out in front as craft beer has been, but we've got a lot of good local roasters around, and local, you go to Austin, Cuvée or something like that, and different areas are going to have local, find your local roaster and locally sourced coffee and things like that.
So politically, has coffee got the same kind of challenges that craft beer has?
I wouldn't think. Well, no, there's no limit on who can drink it, but I would probably import because it can only be grown in certain areas, right? Certain latitudes or longitude.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Whatever.
Regions.
Regions. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's like Hawaii, Colombia, Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Along
And
that.
equator.
Yeah, around
Equator region.
and it has to be mountainous and that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Somewhere where it just stays, 82 degrees all year round with beautiful, beaches and
Yeah.
no big deal.
But do-
Yeah, maybe that's
Do the Maxwell Houses of the world, the big AB coffee people, do they have the same kind of foothold on the markets as craft beer does?
probably not near as much as they used to.
Okay.
I think people are getting away from the instant, I mean, you can still get like Folgers. I call that dirt coffee
Dirt coffee.
Yeah.
because it kind of tastes like dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And in a pinch, if you just need the caffeine,
Yeah.
do it every once in a while.
I mean, if you're like 5 days into the mountains away from civilization, that Folgers is the best thing you've ever tasted in your life.
Yeah,
That's
But you have
true.
to hike 5 days in to get to that flavor.
right. Exactly.
You can come by that natural dirt flavor.
Yes. Yeah, but that's mountain dirt. That's,
Mountain dirt.
That's some high quality, craft dirt,
Yeah.
artisan, like locally sourced dirt. Terroir.
Yeah.
It's I feel like. Yeah, it can't be because there's just so much more. Like you go to the grocery store, you go to this HEB across the street, and you go to the coffee aisle.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different varieties available.
Oh,
They're not
so
as
many.
sensitive, I guess, huh?
So
Yeah.
In the market.
yeah,
Well, that's
so,
good to know. Well, only one battle to fight.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, and I don't know if they. But see, that's another thing I'd have to look into. I don't know if they take the same approach to coffee as I would imagine. It all kind of was birthed in the same place, that industrial. World War II kind of, we got to get the stuff to the troops. Doesn't matter if, we just need calories to get to them. Let's just do this process. And that's where all that came from, right? The instant coffee and the beer, like the light beers, they were actually trying to market to women because all the men were in Germany or Japan or wherever, right? That's part of that. So they're like, oh, well, we can market to those ladies, they don't want, they can't handle the flavor. So we'll give them this light beer and tell them that it's, made for a woman. And then that's where light beer came from, really. And then they just kept dumbing down the flavor because, I don't know.
Because the men came back and decided they liked it.
I guess. I don't know. That's a weird one, right? Because I don't know. Maybe you're just like so glad you're not getting shot at anymore.
Oh, yeah.
That you're like, I'll take it. It's like, or whatever. Everybody's like, listen, we're not at war. It's fine. We're not going to get hung up on details. We're going to just get our life back together and make some babies, baby boomers.
Populate the world.
Yeah. And then now we've been living in relative peace for quite some time.
Yeah. Nice.
30 years since the Berlin Wall fell, like just a couple days ago or whenever that was. It was like 30 years ago. That's crazy. And now we have craft beer. And coffee. And we're just sitting here talking
Berlin
about.
Wall, craft beer, coffee. Yeah, that's.
Listen, the East German beer was just dog shit. It was horrible. I'm glad we won out. The beer is so much better than it could have been. Can you imagine Soviet style communist beer? If that was everybody had to drink the same beer all the time.
No.
Yeah.
There'd be a war just on that.
Yeah, that's why all these, you hear about. Look, I think millennials get it. I don't know what I may be a millennial. I don't even know. Jake, how old are you? You're a millennial, right?
Yeah.
I
I think I fit right in the middle of it, 1990, and I think it's 1985 to 2000.
Is it 85? Then I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah,
I always thought it was 80. It's not 80.
maybe it is 80.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's somewhere in the 80s.
I don't know. See, I always thought I thought it was 80, and I'm like, okay, I was born in 80. I could have been conceived in 79. Most likely conceived. Actually, I know. So, there's a mix.
What month
So
is
where
your
does it
birthday?
fall?
September. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, and I don't think I was born early, so it's like, yeah, okay. I know what was happening on Christmas.
Oh, it's 1981 to 1996.
Okay, so I guess I missed
You
it.
skipped it.
Yeah, but I don't feel like a Gen Xer. I don't really feel like a millennial either.
Yeah.
I feel kind of like a tweener.
Okay, I think
I don't know what that means. You
it
know?
sounds a little dirty.
Does it?
Yeah.
It can be. It's fine. That's-
Deviation.
yeah. No. Well, okay. So, then I'm not a millennial for the next few moments while I bash on millennials. Sorry. But we have like you guys. You've grown up. You've never not like when you How old are you? 30?
Soon.
Almost
So 29, yeah.
Okay, we're right. Okay, when's your birthday?
July?
Okay, I'm right at 10 years older than you, I guess. Yeah, I'm 39.
You don't look more than a day over 5 years older than me.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Wait till I take off my hat, though. This tells a whole. It's like starts up here and starts to move down. It's just gotten into my beard. Like really.
Backhanded compliment.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
From him, I'll take it. I don't look over 35. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's all right. Once you hit that age, it just kind of stops for a few years, and like you don't do any aging, and then it just hits you like a book.
Yeah, it started up here. The hair, like everything's running. It's just like we're out. Anyway, where was I? Oh, anyway. So when you started, like when beer became a thing, you weren't really inundated with the, less filling, taste great commercials as much. It was already past, and it was like the dawn of craft beer right there in front of you.
That's true.
Sort of. I mean, I remember it before craft beer was a real thing, because I remember when my family got into it. And by my family, I mean obviously my parents, not me. I remember when they got into it, because growing up, and once I start turning 21, all that stuff, I've been surrounded by craft beer for so long that to me it was just kind of a natural progression. I remember when, Mary's gonna hate me when I say this, but I remember when she drank Zima and he drank Bud Light and Coors, and I didn't miss that year. No, definitely not.
That year. How long was Zima a thing? About a year, 2 years.
Longer than it should have been.
It was a couple of years. Yeah.
Worst hangover I've ever had was from drinking Zimas.
But it went down so easy.
I know, right?
Especially for a young beer drinker.
Yes, that was it. Me and my roommate Sam, we were. It's the most awesome story. So we had a friend Ben who only drank Zimas. He was that guy. He wouldn't drink. We made fun of him all that because he wouldn't even drink beer. So all right, so we get some Zimas for Ben, and he left them in the refrigerator. And so there was like 2 6-packs of Zimas or 3 or something like that, and Titanic had just come out on video. So two dudes are gonna, let's watch Titanic and drink some Zimas, and we did, and it was like the worst hangover. And we had some Crystal Burger, those little Crystal burgers. I mean, that was part of it too.
Love Crystal Burger.
Yeah, that's always yeah. It seems like the best idea, and then a few hours later, the worst idea.
Yeah, but we still have that now. Now we have a White Claw.
Yeah.
I mean that's
kind of the new.
Yeah,
deal.
It's horrendous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you're kind of hydrating yourself, but you still feel horrible in the morning.
Yes.
It's like it doesn't make too much sense.
I'll say this though, like I tried a White Claw, and it wasn't so much like I was like, okay, I can see why an individual would like this. I get it, but it has kind of that diet cola,
that artificial.
Yeah, or zero. Not even like the diet with the aspartame, with the zero sugar branch, like with the Splenda or whatever they use. And it has that kind of after taste to it. At Backfish, the last episode, you can go back and listen to it if you want to. Caleb down at Backfish has nailed them.
Really?
Yeah, they had this coconut lime mojito version that was just super subtle on the coconut and the lime. It wasn't overpowered at all. It was like you could sit on the beach and drink that all day.
So when are we getting distribution again?
And what they had another one. It was mango. No, not mango. Was it mango? It was some citrus fruits and stuff. Really good. Like, yeah.
Well, I hate to sound blasphemous here, but I had the natural light seltzer waters.
Yeah.
They're actually really good. Like White Claw, you can bear them. The natural light seltzer waters are pretty stinking good.
Really?
Yeah. Someone brought me just a sample of it, and I thought I was going to hate it. I was just going to do it just to try it, at least say I've been there.
Yeah.
Man, I had one of those. And I was like, I kind of need another one, and ran down to the gas station to go see if I could find another one. Couldn't. Ended up drinking a 12-pack of White Claw instead. As much as I love beer, that natural seltzer was good.
We are on the couch. If this is like therapy time.
Yeah. I'm just going to let it all out.
Jake. Just get it out,
Yeah, I had to clean the garage. I was like, how many White Claws before I forget I'm cleaning the garage? Turns out the answer's 10.
Yeah. But I will say full endorsement for Caleb's seltzers at Backfish.
Okay.
Super clean. Like, whatever, he's like a mad scientist, but he nailed it. He said he's been experimenting with a lot of different yeast strains and water chemistry and all that kind of stuff, but there was none of that after flavor of like, diet. So that's the only thing I can compare it to. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the artificial flavoring.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nasty.
It was none of that. It's super crystal clear and just crispy delicious.
I'm excited to try it now. I'm like, what do I have to do for the rest of the afternoon?
You're busy.
You can get to Pearland in 40 minutes from here, especially
Yeah.
this time of day.
Are they distributing or are they just still in-house?
No, they're distributing.
They are
They've
distributing.
got cans out in the markets.
Okay.
As far as the seltzers go, I don't know. Because they've got that pilot system now. They've put out almost 30 styles since Caleb got there, and that was like early summer.
Oh, wow.
They're churning them out big time. So,
All right.
they put out their beers in the market. I know, like the cheap sunglasses. I think it's the Pale Ale and the All Y'all. I think is that the Wit? Should have kept up with their marketing better.
Yeah.
Just go to listen to the last episode, everybody. Go to their website. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm doing that this afternoon.
yeah.
They're great people.
Yes.
I have not been out to their place or tried their beers yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Chris is he's super tall and super likable.
Yes.
And Bianca, she's their marketing manager. That was I haven't said this on the show, and I didn't mention it. I should have because they were sitting, but that was the biggest height disparity. She's like this tall, and he's like 7'4" or something, and I almost couldn't get them both in the picture when I cropped it. It was like just her nose and eyes and like Kilroy kind of deal. And
Chris,
then
sit down.
Yeah, and then like his hair cut off a little bit, but anyway, yeah, good people. So Pearland, if you're south of town.
I think we need to make a trip down there.
Agreed.
South
Yeah.
of town, that's the thing, like south of town, that's just, to me, that's everything south of the South Loop, I guess, or the Beltway, south of Beltway 8, South Beltway. There's a lot going on down there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of breweries that are making really good beer, and it's like, for us, northerners here, just north of the wall or whatever.
We're missing it.
Actually, yeah, we're north of the wall. 99's the wall, right? So we're like the free folk up here.
We're actually like half a mile south of the wall.
Oh, is 99 that way?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, never mind. Y'all aren't the Wildlings.
We're north of Beltway 8, though, so we're north of that wall.
That's like King's Landing is like it's like St. Arnold, and then the Isles are, I don't remember. It's
Game of Thrones. We just totally transitioned.
yes, but so 99 is the wall.
Wait, does
Okay.
that make us Night's Watch then? Because we're like right here, making sure y'all don't have to go any further.
Yes,
Yeah.
There you go.
you are
I like
men and
that.
women of the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
Or the morning with the coffee.
Morning
man.
watch. Yeah.
Morning
we got
watch.
capture
Y'all take the
attention all
morning
day.
shift. The Fortress, they can take the night. They can take the evening shifters. Yeah, that's kind of it though. And then all these crazy Conroe folks,
Yeah.
they're the Wildlings.
The Wildlings.
And anybody north of the crazy stuff going up there in Conroe. Don't even.
Yeah,
the
just
Giants and.
well. Now, do you think Copperhead and Southern Star are gonna be okay with us going in? Look at all these wildlings.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah,
do you,
probably.
do you know Dave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll embrace that. I mean, and look at Omar. Omar looks like a wildling.
There you go.
True.
So, big shout out to Omar. He did a stand-up show the other day,
I saw that.
looking all dapper and like legit.
Yeah.
Like, stand-up encourager.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is. He's something else. He's
Yeah.
really on a roll these days.
Yes. And wasn't was his first gig here? One of his first gigs?
One of his first gigs was here. I think he was also doing. Was it Java?
I'm not too sure.
We'll call it here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll
It
call
doesn't-
it. Thank you.
I'd be honored if it was here. Yeah.
We'll say it's
100%.
here.
We were
Yes.
one of the first ones that he did here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's got just this fabulous character.
Yeah.
And he's got these clean jokes, and he delivers them very well. We're
Yeah.
very entertained by him.
Omar's good people.
Yep.
And that's some of the people you'll see when you come into a Thistle Draftshop.
Yeah.
People like Omar are in here all the time.
Can I make a plug?
Please.
A little
Absolutely.
side note. So we teamed up with Southern Star
Mm-hmm.
and did a beer dinner at their place in October.
Cool.
And the funds raised for that, 100% of the funds raised for that, went to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Yes, I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah, we presented them a check last night for $3,300.
That's awesome.
It was so fun. It was a great dinner. Good people. We were very, very happy to work with Southern Star on this one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I want to iterate, just make sure you doing Thistle Draft Shop being a thing
Mm-hmm.
is giving back more than just, I don't think I think you could just run your business and just provide this place for the community. And to me, you've given back already. You've made the community better. You've given the people a place to come and visit, and family times on weekends and afternoons and mornings now, and places like this are few and far between that are, special. Like, just there's something special about it. But at the same time, when you do stuff like that, I mean, it just continues to, it just gives me all the good feels, and it's admirable and humbling to see you do all that kind of stuff. So
thank you. Kudos
to you guys and doing that. But I mean, I think what you're doing here, I think I think it goes beyond just, yes, we talk about the good food and the delicious beer and the awesome coffee and all of that, but there's something you almost can't even put words on it. That it's a special, like, it's on that life level. It's just the
wholesome
something. Yes, it is wholesome, absolutely, but it's like bigger than you can even communicate. It's like a spiritual type of thing. There's to provide. I don't know. It's just you're providing like this, place for, like, I don't even know what the word is. Like, Germans have the word Gemütlichkeit for.
Bless you.
Thank you. But it's a word meaning like cozy place, like the feeling of sitting next to a fire with people you love under a blanket or something like that. It's kind of how they describe it. We don't really have a word like that in English, and it's kind of that, but it's more like whatever that human interaction on more than just you're not just spending time next to another person. You're with other people, and you're making connections. Like you sit at the bar and you watch, a Rockets playoff game or the Astros or whatever. With people you kind of know, you see them across the bar, maybe, you've been here a few times, and you're just like, oh, hey, there's that person I've seen, and you kind of give them a little wave. But then you have a night like that where you're like, high-fiving, and you kind of connect, and it's like relationships form and connections and community and all of that.
I feel like you need to make that word.
That's something.
Just
create it.
Create it? Mitzpah. Mitzpah. I don't.
Just read the first thing you see. You're like
Mitzpaliacal aesthetics. I don't know. Just pulling words.
I think for us,
ship.
I think for us it's community, really, because
agreed.
That's kind of like my favorite part about this job is, like, especially on the rainy days. I think this happened maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago. All the beer reps were coming in and people just coming in, but it started raining all at once, so we had this whole room filled with 10, 15 people that just ended up here by chance, and it just basically being a hangout while everybody waited on the rain to stop. And I feel like that's a lot of what this place is you just stroll in and you just make the friends while you're there.
And when that happens, you're like, well, I'm not just gonna sit here and give me a beer. All right, let's talk about and then you've got all these people with a common thing, but then there's all they're all in the beer industry, but then it's like, all right, we're living life.
Yeah.
And so it's like real. It's real. It's real.
It is real.
It's not post on a on a screen. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important.
Yeah.
People lose touch of that. You need to, people need to. It's almost cliche to even say it, but you got to make time to get out and do real life, like for real.
Mm-hmm.
Put the phone away. I mean, take a picture because it's great backdrops for photos and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't let me forget to get a picture of you too, by the way.
Yeah.
Self reminder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I lead into something else?
Please do.
Kind of follows. Sure. Save me. Well, John Denman and I have partnered up with Texas EquiSearch.
Yes.
So we're doing this fundraiser for
yes.
Texas EquiSearch. We call it Taps for Texas EquiSearch.
Mm-hmm.
So on November 30th, we've partnered up with a bunch of breweries around town. So Southern Star, St. Arnold, 11 Below. There's a whole list. They've got a Facebook page, and the goal is to give back to Texas EquiSearch. And if you're not familiar with what they are you familiar with Texas EquiSearch?
Yes.
Slightly?
Yes.
Well, it was created by Tim Miller, who had lost his daughter many years ago, or way before, I think it was 1994-ish. And through the period of his growing and dealing with it, he very much into horses and created this equestrian team that goes out and searches for missing and lost people.
Yeah.
And they're in Alabama right now searching for 2 people.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've even been as far as Aruba,
Wow.
looking for Natalie Holloway. which is the college student that
Yeah.
went missing out there.
Yeah.
They've been all over the place, so it's a worthwhile cause that we believe in, and our goal is to do it citywide this year, and to build it up big enough to go statewide next year as either a single month donation opportunity or a single day donation opportunity. So
Okay.
want to get that message out.
So when is this happening?
The actual day that we're looking at is November 30th. It's Small Business Saturday.
Okay.
Some of us, we will make the opportunity available to all of our guests, either by cash donation or through our system. They've also created a QR code, which makes it very easy for guests to do it themselves, and a PayPal link. So we just want to get that word out.
Okay. 30th. That's Saturday. That's the
2 weeks.
the day after Black Friday, which is the day after Thanksgiving. Which, let's face it, you're going to want to get out of the house
Yeah, why not?
because you love your family, but
Yeah.
Not that much.
yeah,
1 day's enough.
yeah, you just like I say, you need to get out and do life sometimes away from your family, or you with them, but
Or invite 'em.
enough to so everybody has their own space.
Yeah.
You have plenty of space here.
You could come here in the morning,
Mhm.
have coffee,
Mm.
have some lunch, go shopping, come back for some afternoon beers.
Yeah.
Why not?
Or come here, have some coffee, stay here, online shopping, or just watch the games.
Watch the games, exactly.
Let's see who plays on Friday. Would be is that the Texas TCU game maybe, and Oklahoma State, I believe, is that weekend.
Astros are over, so I
Yeah.
I don't know the schedule anymore.
Who LSU will be playing? LSU, man, that game that was crazy with Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama Auburn play, don't they, together on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, that's the Iron Bowl. Yeah, it's usually the rivalry weekend. So LSU used to play. I think it's LSU. Will that be LSU A&M? I believe. Or
I think
LSU
that's
Arkansas.
the rivalry.
Something.
Which is actually great because Bishop Ciders put out a cider called Tiger's Blood.
Yeah.
A little reference to that rivalry there, but I think it's a coconut cider. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I remember Tiger's Blood. The was it the Hawaiian shaved ice?
Yeah.
Tiger's Blood. It was the red one, but it had coconut and some other fruits. And then Charlie Sheen has Tiger's Blood, which. Ugh.
That's a name I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah. I hope he's doing all right. Whatever he's doing right now. How many ciders do y'all keep on tap?
Oh boy, on tap I try not to put too many on. So sometimes we'll have 2 or 3. Sometimes we'll have 1. But a lot of it comes down to availability. I don't like overplaying a cider, so you won't always have one of the same cider on.
Yeah.
So Texas Keeper cider's coming in on tap soon. So I've been
cool.
waiting for those kegs to land. Those are easily my favorite.
Yeah. Texas Keeper has really good stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful
And
ciders.
And
Yeah.
St. Arnold's right up there as well. Just a
Yes.
real nice, crisp cider. We put Houston Cider Company on here and there. A lot of times it's their rosé, which is their hibiscus cider.
Cider's interesting because it's like I like cider a lot, but it's like I have to not drink beer to drink cider. So a lot of times I'm like, I like cider, but beer. It's
Yep,
but
but
the beer's right there. I don't know. I think like a cider. I don't know, like a place that just did cider, and like that was people that were really into cider, like cider heads or whatever they're called. I don't know, Cidarians. I don't know what they're called.
Cidarians.
Appleheads?
Appleheads. I don't know. Something. Yeah. I don't know what that is. I feel like that would probably be a place that would do all right and be niche driven, and people that are like super into cider, like they're just that dude. They probably wear one of those hats that's like a beanie, but it flops over to the side, and they wear like a monocle.
Well, kind of the awesome part about cider is you don't have to sacrifice flavor for gluten.
Yeah.
It's already gluten free. And so no offense to gluten free beers, but
Yeah.
they're not my favorite thing.
Right.
And with cider, it's like it's more on how good the cidery is rather than what is or is not in it, because it's no gluten.
Right. And there's a ton of variety. I mean, it's got the elements of wine, like the different, varieties of apples and things like that, and where they come from. And then they can also barrel age, and they can all kinds of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, it's super interesting, and I've made cider before, and all. Yeah. If I were struck with with gluten, gluten can't have it syndrome or whatever it's called.
Celiac disease.
Yeah,
Gluten can't have it syndrome. Yeah.
Yeah, if that happened to me, God forbid, I would miss beer, but I think at the same time, eventually I'd be like, just super into. I'd be good. I'm just a cider.
Yeah, as long as it was a dry cider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sweet ciders are like going back to sweet wine.
Right. That's why Texas Keeper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some really good. I had one with Thanksgiving a few years ago that was like this barrel aged Texas Keeper,
Yeah.
like the flip top bottles. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Say what I love about them is they really kind of integrate a lot of different techniques into it. So they're using Hefeweizen yeast and Saison yeast, and they're fermenting with grapes as well, and they're kind of really just expanding on the idea of not just a sweet alcoholic beverage. It's
Yeah.
like these dry, crisp with all these super in depth and particular flavors that they really highlighted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny that like the history of cider, Johnny Appleseed, John Chapman, shout out. What's up, bro? He went around, that was his whole thing. He wasn't just like extolling the apples. He was like, he was a entrepreneur. He was trying to get people to grow cider apple orchards. And you can actually graft. Have you ever seen how they grow apple? You actually have to have an apple tree, and you can then graft on different varieties of apples onto one tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can have like this double tree that has like 2 types of apples.
I think that is just absolutely crazy, because there's different fruits that are capable of grafting with each other, and they've got these super fruit trees with like 10 different fruit on them,
Yeah.
and that's just wild that they can do that.
Like a natural fruit salad. Just sit down below it. Just wait.
Just shake the tree a little bit.
Yeah, but then at Prohibition, they went through and turned up all his. Or I don't think there's any of his orchards left, and so we lost a big chunk of that to Prohibition, and then all the rest that we talked about that brought in dirt coffee and macro light beer, and now we're just now getting back to it, and the good people at like Texas Keeper or Argus or Bishop or Houston Cider Company or St. Arnold, with their pub cider. And what's the next? They had another. Was it the honey and what was the
Honey
Agave.
agave.
honey agave?
Yeah.
Good.
Really
I haven't
nice,
tried
yeah.
that one yet.
They're doing some nice things.
Yeah. So people experimenting with that. So it's like we're having to rebuild this thing that we lost.
Yeah, but as we're rebuilding, technology is here where everything's just growing at such a rate, and there's so much more innovation. It's kind of great, because you talk about Germany with Reinheitsgebot, it really kind of kept their styles really tight and neat and together, which, don't get me wrong, the tradition and refining is fantastic.
Yeah.
But with us, Prohibition kind of reset a lot of things. So
Yeah.
it's like, what can we do with this? And I think that's part of what our expansion is, and that's starting to happen with cider as well.
Yeah.
So it really kind of opens those playing fields for much more innovation and new flavors. And yeah, we're going to constantly go, should we have done that? But I think that's kind of like the fun, is like finding what that new thing that's like, wow, like look at this technology I developed, or this new fermentation method, or adjunct, or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's like with hazy IPAs and fruited sours and the smoothie beers. Everybody's trying to figure out, where's the line, and
What you can do with it.
and let's cross it and then dance on it and then jump over it and then run a mile past it and then whatever. And we're figuring all that out, and like what the application is for those types of things, and what can we do versus what should we do versus what shouldn't we do, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
And so it's
exciting
to be here during that, though.
yes. And
It is. Well, we were at Pink Boot Society was at Houston Cider Company last month actually, and the styles of ciders he had over there were so playful.
yeah.
Very good, very playful, and some of them were some big ABVs.
Really? Yeah, typically ciders top out around 6.
Oh no, these were 8, 9, and 10. They were big.
Okay.
I didn't know you could do that. I suppose you could. I never thought about it.
You can
You probably go wine based, couldn't you? Get that high?
yeah, champagne yeast, and then you just need more sugar, I guess. You just want to make sure it doesn't, get too thin. Like that cider yeast will make it real thin, like
I feel like the limits are being pushed as far as ciders are concerned.
Yeah.
Just like the smoothie beers.
Yeah.
What else can we do? Which leads us all to craft, right?
Yes.
Artisan and craft beer and craft coffee.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I don't know. I think people bristle at some of it, and that's fine because I think we should hold on to tradition. I think that's important too. I think we need both sides.
Agreed.
That's the main thing. Like hazy IPAs, perfect example. There were people that were like, "That's not going to last." Other people were like, "These are the greatest thing ever," and they're both. They're like, okay, they're gonna they're not going to be as big and nothing is ever as big and prominent, as it is when it's at its most. That's the nature of being the most, because that means it wasn't that, and then it won't be that, but for now it is, but then it'll kind of find its place, and the next thing will kind of get, made. And I think, you do need people that challenge it, because that causes these people over here to say, oh, you don't think I can? Boom, right there.
Right.
Here's a triple hazy IPA. I saw somebody, who put one out? I just saw a hazy triple IPA or something. I just saw it last night on Instagram or something. I don't remember who it was.
Wow.
Commercial brewer.
Triple hazy. Would
Yeah.
that be considered a milkshake?
I don't even. That's the thing. I don't even know where the lines and the definitions are now. It's moving so fast.
So is the IPA triple or is the haze triple?
I think the IPA is a triple IPA, which technically isn't even a style.
It's just super high ABV pale ale.
Yeah, just 200 IBU.
Yeah.
You drink and you have lupulin like leaking out of your eyes.
A little hops in your teeth.
Yes, yeah, full hops. Like you sneeze, like a full hop on the table. You can't even handle that. But I mean, like triple IPAs have been around for a while as a thing. Like let's just do it, because there was like the IBU wars of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Or whatever that
Yeah.
was, mid 2000s or whatever it was. Like let's see how many IBUs we can pump into these things, and that okay. Nobody has enamel on their teeth left, so let's see what let's see what the next thing is. And that kind of went into the hazies, and then brutes were here for half a second and they're gone, and it's like, here we are.
So what do you think is the next big style? Like, what's the up and coming that's gonna kind of take haze out of?
I think that haze is here and it's not going anywhere.
No, out of the main line.
Right.
Like, what's the next big one?
Well, these fruited sours, people are going nuts about them. There's a vocal minority, and so I never want to say that this is a big thing. Like that's somebody that just overdosed on fruited, like a smoothie beer.
Yeah.
They tried to drink 3. They tried to shotgun a smoothie beer, and then it doesn't turn out well. Because there is the very vocal minority on social media, and if you spend more time on social media, especially like Facebook and Facebook groups, where it's like, Facebook, but then you have local people, and then you have local people really into beer, and then you have the people that actually post on there every single day that are like, they should probably do some work when they're at work. Every day they're just talking about beers, and that's cool, but I think it skews like what's actually going on. So let's see. What do I think the next? I don't know. I don't know. For me, sometimes like I see like a big thing, like a hazy IPA going on, and I like them, and I'll try them, and I'll drink them, and when I have them, I'm like, yeah, this is really nice. But then like the next day, I might be like, I'm drinking a brown ale. It's like, or whatever. So that's really close to the window. I'm glad he's good.
He's a good driver.
Yeah. So yeah, next thing, if I knew that, maybe I'd make $1 million off of
Investments.
Yeah.
I mean, if more people start doing the seltzers like Caleb turned them out at Macfish, like there's no reason why the craft breweries can't own that whole space.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, even let the Natty Light people do the marketing to get what is that? And they're like, okay. And then that when people have a frame of reference when they do come into your brewery or come in here or whatever. It's like, do y'all have anything like da-da-da? White Claw? Oh, do we? You like White Claw, you're going to love this. And they'll be like, whoa, this is way better. It's like I had the Allstott, their lager. That was really good. It was one of those beers where it's like, it's just this beautiful German lager that has, it's just full but crisp and just like, my daughters kind of got annoyed with me. I was like, this beer's so good. I kept looking at it and being like, this is so good. Like, Dad, you said that 4 times already.
Yeah.
And I was just enjoying that beer so much in that moment. And it's like a really good, pizza beer, burger, anything like that. I mean, sure, IPAs are too, but that one was just really.
Oh, their beers are delicious.
That's only like 4.5%. And so it's like one of those beers that you want to keep. Like if somebody comes over, like, you want a beer? Like, yeah, but I'm not really into all that crazy stuff you're into. I get that a lot from my neighbors. Yeah, dude, that last beer you gave. I was twitching for a week. I'm like, I'm sorry. All right, well,
there's a really good point, a very valid point. Those good stable styles are still a thing, but they're being overshadowed by the smoothies and the hazies.
Yeah.
But there's still people that really, really like the traditional beers.
Yeah, it's similar to music. Like, you may have somebody come out, do something new and wild and wacky, but if you've got somebody that can, that a band that's super solid, a rock band they play super well together, like a balanced beer, right? They play really well together, and they're never, off. They're just right there, tight together, and the guitar solo just is like right on point, and doesn't do flares for the sake of doing flares, but nails every note, and it's just just good rock music. It's like you don't really notice that song, but you find yourself enjoying it every time you hear it, and kind of bobbing your head. You don't arrow past it on your phone when you're driving. I don't know, like there's certain like new stuff you have to be in the mood for, but then like just a solid Led Zeppelin song or something, you're just like, yep, listening to that. I don't even have to I don't even have to thumbs it up. I'm good. I'm just going to listen to this whole song.
But then you've got this millennial group always looking for the next best thing.
Yeah. What's up with these millennials?
I know,
gosh.
Stable.
Stable.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I like the really solid fundamental type stuff never really gets all the pomp and circus. It's always got to be something crazy. Like a glitter beer or glitter,
I didn't get that one. I didn't understand that at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's a why not type of beer. Can we make a glitter beer? Yeah, why not? So they did it.
Can we make a glitter coffee?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I feel like that's the first step. Is we got to ask why are we going to do this first?
It's just a thought.
You could do it. Maybe do I don't know. Maybe do like I mean, the coffee itself doesn't really lend itself to be sparkly, but if you did like a frozen type, mixed with cream and milk and blended it, and
Like one of those frappuccinos.
Yeah,
A
like
unicorn glitter
Yes.
in the top of the coffee.
The glitter corn frappuccino. I just feel like that's going to make your morning BM just extra fabulous.
if it comes out glittery,
Yeah.
you're like a unicorn on the. That's like Pegasus. See, that's the part of the whole Pegasus they don't talk about. He's flying around, or she, I don't know, but that's a horse up there. And horses do what horses do.
Mm-mm.
There was some casualties with Pegasus on the ground that we never even got into. It's like, sure, Hercules rode in and rescued whomever, but what about the people on the ground that were in the wrong place at the wrong time and severe head trauma due to Pegasus and its diet? And listen, you're burning a lot of calories when you're flying around. It's a lot of in, a lot of out.
Yeah, that's pretty solid stuff.
Yes, hopefully.
But bump.
Hopefully high in fiber, so it's softer. Maybe there weren't. Good thing he's not into eating like steak. We would have been dead people. Anyway,
Could have just been rainbows. I mean,
Yeah,
how unicorns go.
farted rainbows.
Clouds of color.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I don't want to. Just looking at the clock here. I mean, I could sit here and chat with you guys all day. But
Same.
It is hump day, so we don't want to take up all your time. We got clean linens and things coming in.
Yeah.
And new beers been coming in all day long.
All day.
What's the next big what's our next event? What's our next what are we doing? Beer dinner?
That's a big one. So it's actually already started. It's a 2-week event. Is that the same one you were thinking of?
No, but that's a good one too.
That's the one on my mind. Is we're doing a Raw and Sons pub crawl.
Oh, fun!
It's a little bit different than your typical pub crawl. So I believe there's 6 different places to visit.
Okay.
Being spring, it's a little bit further apart. So
Right.
you actually have 2 weeks to visit each stop. The
Oh.
last stop is actually us, where we're going to have a 15 tap takeover with Raw and Sons.
Ooh.
So it'll be 15 different Raw and Sons beers, and then if you get all your punch cards, you get a free T-shirt, and then a chance to get into like a raffle.
Okay.
And then we have, let's say, the 11 Below dinner's coming up, December 12th. So that'll be a lot of fun. I
Yeah.
think we're getting a coconut negative space, which is
Nice.
my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
Coconut negative space,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
Yeah, that negative space is good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love working with 11 Below.
They're great, right?
They're really good people.
They're some of my favorite people.
Delicious beer,
Mm-hmm.
Hands down, yeah.
hands
Yeah.
down. This will be our second beer dinner with them.
Yeah.
And as of last week, we've actually done 19 beer dinners. So this will be our 20th beer dinner.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay, in rapid succession, name the 15 Raw and Sons beers and everybody you've done a beer dinner with, and go.
Oh boy, pumpkin ale, bourbon, Oktoberfest, Texas Red, Oktoberfest, Caledonia,
Yeah.
blueberry, something Kolsch.
The-
That's a
What about
That's a lot.
What about is it the Scotch ale? It's like the Thistle, something like a.
the Iron Thistle. We
Iron-
we have the Iron Joe coming in. I have the whole list right here, but we have the Iron Joe coming in, which is the same as their Scotch ale with coffee in it.
Yeah.
Keeping theme here
I
today.
just like that they have the word thistle in it. I figured that would be appropriate.
Oh yeah,
And
and then
Hellas, they're that
yeah,
one's
they're
great.
Hellas, they're Adios Pantalones, Paleta de Mango,
Dadgum.
Dadgum, Ugly Pug, Oktoberfest, Winter Warmer, Midnight Cab, the Iron Joe we just talked about, the Regulator, which is their Doppelbock.
Yeah.
Yep. Barrel de Blue was the one I was trying to say. So it's a blueberry Kolsch,
Okay.
and then bourbon barrel aged Oktoberfest, and their pumpkin ale,
Wow.
and Wild Caledonia.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, so we got quite a bit. Yeah,
All right, Mary, you're up. And then every
I'll
beer.
have my list, right?
19.
Yeah. I'm looking at this list, and we really had a nice mix between the local and the regional breweries. We started with Spindle Tap, which is also doing coffee now.
Yes.
But come to us.
Yeah.
Spindle Tap, Celis, Southern Star, St. Arnold, Lone Pint, Brooklyn, Rogue, 11 Below, Real Ale, Dogfish Head, NOLA, Back Pew, B52, Parish. I guess we've done something twice with St. Arnold. One was a brunch, one was a dinner.
Okay.
Both of them turned out awesome. Stone,
Stain.
Great Heights, Southern Brewery, Southern Star, Firestone Walker, and then we're looking at Sierra Nevada in January.
Oh, that's cool.
Did you want to talk about the two possible ones that may come up early next
Sure,
year?
Yeah.
So we
yeah.
we had the pleasure of Gavin coming down from Samuel Smith, their master brewer.
Yeah.
Just popped
Oh,
in
yeah,
one
yeah,
day.
yeah.
Fantastic guy, so much fun. But we are talking about doing a beer dinner with him, so we'll have the actual master brewer down from Samuel Smith to come do a dinner with us, which is very, very
Oh,
exciting.
that's cool.
And then it's not confirmed yet, but we're working with Brooklyn right now, and we may have Garrett Oliver down here in a few months or so. And yeah, that's like that's the one that is the holy grail of dinners for the
That
beginning of the
guy
year.
has forgotten more about beer than most of us will ever even fathom.
Exactly.
He's
Yeah.
and super dapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so dapper.
That's
That's
the-
like the only way to describe him. He's just dapper,
Dapper AF.
Yeah.
Dapper AF. I love it.
and he's super cool, super fun to talk to.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. That's you heard it here first.
Yeah.
And well, maybe not only here. Hopefully, you hear it a lot of places.
Yeah, exactly.
Heard it here first. That's wow.
And then lastly, we have the most incredible milestone. We reached 2 years.
Awesome.
We'll be celebrating that on December 7th.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're very excited about that.
Is that
It's a Saturday.
Saturday. Okay.
Yeah. Our actual is the 5th, but Saturday seems appropriate.
Works. It's close
Yeah,
enough.
It is close enough.
Yeah. That's
Uh,
tis the season.
We don't have everything planned, but we've got some really nice big beers in the back that I can't wait to tap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one where I've been saving beers for easily 8 or 9 months, just hiding them back there. So that's kind of like the fun day of the year where
Yeah.
we start. I get to clear out my cooler, which is awesome, but there's also some really cool stuff like barrel aged vintage Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Worldwide Stout. Hammer Smashed Face is an obvious. You have to have that one. It's
Well, we
such a
s-
delicious beer.
That's because I drank a 6-barrel before we even opened up. So that is our anniversary beer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
And
That sounds bananas. And if y'all need any bananas,
Yeah.
I've got you.
An extra 25 bananas
Yeah.
just chilling.
I will trade you 700 bananas for one beer.
Perfect. I don't know who's the winner there, though.
Uh,
I think you are.
bananas. Look, they're so versatile.
Yes.
Did I tell you about the the desserts you can make with bananas? Take that all the way back around.
How about banana bread pudding?
Oh, you could do that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure.
With a little bit of hammer smash face kind of
Ooh.
topping it off.
Yeah.
Why
Okay.
not?
All right. Yeah. All right. You know what? We'll wrap it up here, and then we'll contemplate banana desserts and all the places you can go. Bananas. Well, thank you all so much.
Oh, no, thank you, Josh.
thank you.
This is awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Thistle Draftshop, soon to be celebrating 2 years, has coffee ready for you now. Just a delicious, piping hot, cup of coffee that's telling you good morning, or good late morning, or good afternoon, or whatever. Waiting for you, along with all the delicious beers and ciders and wine and delicious food. It just doesn't stop. And cozy atmosphere and friendly faces and your friends, the friends you haven't met yet, come make them. They're right here. And bring your other friends too, if you have friends. And if you don't, this is a good remedy for that.
You can make friends here.
Unless you're just horrible. But even then, though, you could still come have a beer. Maybe you just haven't been exposed to great people yet, so, well, maybe it's a fix for that.
There you go.
I
We're
don't
at the
know.
place.
That went in a weird place. Anyway, normally when I end the show, it's like 3 beers in, so then I'm a little more lovey-dovey. Now I'm just like too much caffeine, and I'm like, you really got to get your life together, son. You need a plan, and like with 5 steps, and you need to take some action today. That journey starts with 1 step, or something. Anyway.
Pretty good advice.
Jake, tell the rest of your millennial friends that.
Oh, I will.
I don't know. I'm not good at. Maybe without the beers, I'm not as good at endings. I'm really good at getting started with the caffeine, but then it's like, all right, let's wrap this thing. But anyway,
It's a pleasure. Thank you for being here.
excellent.
Really appreciate
Mary,
you
thank
being
you so
here.
much. Jake, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Everybody, come back by Thistle Draft Shop and look for the events and the fundraising and all the beer dinners.
Beer dinner.
There's so much good stuff. So follow them on Facebook and wherever else you like to follow people. You can just come follow Mary around the bar just all day as she walks around. You can just follow
That's
around.
true.
And then you'll get the latest. And thanks for listening to this episode of the podcast. So we'll see you next time. So for Jake, for Mary, I'm Josh. Let's see if I can reach this thing in time, is InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
Also, don't forget that Patreon page. Thank you. Goodbye.
The preceding has been a presentation of Stewed Productions.